Okay, Paula, I think we can start with the
Sure.
interview today. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us today on Google Meet. And I'm glad that we're doing this now because I think AetheriumX feel like it's moving into a new phase and there's been a steady like product development, a complete like financing round, and now a much clearer sense that the company is shifting from early tractions into more deliberate expansion. So yeah, let I'm joined by Paula, the CEO of AetheriumX, and we're going to talk about where the project stand right now and what has changed after the financing and what the priorities are for this year. And Paula, thanks for joining. Let's have a little bit of introductions from your side.
So, hello everyone. Thanks for having me today. And yes, you are actually right. It's a very good time to talk, especially now, because a lot of the groundwork is now in place. And the next stage, I believe, is really about execution. So, I'm actually very excited to dig deeper today.
Yes, thank you. And before we get into the bigger strategy themes, I want to start with the current state of the business. Where does Ethereum X actually stand today in terms of traction?
Yes, so basically, we have now passed 15 million in TVL, which is great news, right? And registered users have grown to more than, if I'm not mistaken, about 20,000. So for me, those numbers matter less as trophies and more as proof that the ecosystem has moved beyond concept. So there is already a real user base, real capital in the system, and real pattern of engagement forming across the platform. So what I pay more attention to is actually the quality of that foundation. So we are seeing that the ecosystem is no longer dependent on a single point of attraction. People are entering through different layers like DeFi and gaming. So when I look at where we are right now, I see a validated base, not a finished system, but something strong enough to support the next stage.
I see. So that's a really like useful distinctions because in crypto, people often either undersell where they are or overinflate it. And this sounds more like you're saying the business is established enough that strategy now matters more than proving that something exists, right?
Yeah, yes, actually, you put it very, very correctly. That's right. Early on, the question, was is whether you can attract users and capital at all. So once that starts happening consistently, the question changes. It becomes less about proving that the market is interested and more about what kind of structure you build on top of that interest. So that's really the stage we are entering right now.
I see, I see. So let's move on to the financings. Like once a company closes around the outside, I think
Yeah,
there's some issue. The voice coming on from
yeah,
your.
actually, outside, like was something happening outside, like some like car came and etc. And I think they are doing some handiwork. So is that really very bad for the sound?
It's a little bit now, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's
Yeah.
continue
Oh
with
my god.
the
Yeah, I'm
questions.
sorry, guys. That was unpredictable, actually.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So, like, once a company closes around the outside, like, assumptions, it's a way that it can now move faster. But in reality, it usually also changes the expectations and forces sharper prioritizations. So, what did the financings unlock for you?
So it gave us the ability to sequence properly. So, for example, before financing, even then you have conviction, you are still constrained by what you can reasonably support. And after financing, you have more room. But that doesn't mean you should expand in every direction at once, right? In fact, I think that's where a lot of teams lose discipline. So, for us, I can see that financing created room to deepen the layers that matter most, product depth, regional expansion, and ecosystem formation all become more realistic than you are not operating under the same short term pressure. So what changes is not just speed, but what changes is the ability to think structurally. You stop asking like, what can we launch next? And you start asking like, how do these pieces become part of one coherent system?
I see. I see. So, from your perspective, you're saying that the financing didn't make you more like impulsive; it made you more like deliberate.
Yeah, I believe you're right. That's actually what I was trying to say, that it allowed us to move from momentum management into system design.
I see. I see. So that's a strong way of putting it, and I think it leads directly into the first major direction for this year, which is making DeFi more intelligent rather than just more available.
Yeah, that's fair. Because the word AI has been, I believe, overused. For us, AI only matters if it changes how capital is managed. So, for example, the way we think about it is pretty simple. More users don't want to stare at, boring dashboards all day. They don't want to manually rebalance every position. Like, it's really time consuming and boring. They don't want to translate every market move into a portfolio decision by themselves. So what they need is a system that can operate intelligently within their comfort zone. So the direction we are taking is to make DeFi more adaptive through AI agents. These agents are not there to replace users, so they're there to act within user-defined boundaries. If someone is conservative, the strategy should reflect that. So if someone has a higher tolerance of volatility, the allocation behavior should reflect that too. So the intelligence layer sits between users' preference and execution. So over time, that means a user doesn't just access DeFi products, they access an AI guided capital management experience. That's, I think you understand, it's a very different thing.
I see. I understand it's very different. So, like in practice, you are describing a system that behaves less like a static yield product and more like a digital portfolio manager. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, yes. But there is one important difference. So it's all operating in a transparent, programmable environment. That's why DeFi is such a natural starting point for this. On-chain markets are visible, execution can be verified, risk parameters can be defined more clearly. So for us, AI in DeFi is not about adding a chatbot to a wallet. It's about creating a capital agent that can allocate, rebalance, and manage exposure more intelligently than a typical user would manually.
Hi mồm nha. I see. So, and Mike is involved in this now, like in a bigger way, right?
Yes, Mike is a very great guy, by the way. And he is now not only our head of Americas, but also the lead for the AI initiative. That reflects actually how seriously we take this direction. We didn't want, AI to sit off the side as an experimental film. We wanted it connected directly to strategy and execution. So Mike brings both market understanding and organizational discipline, which makes him the right person to bridge those two words.
So that's actually quite important, like because it suggests this isn't just a research like initiative. I think it's tied to the operations.
Uh, yes, yes, exactly. If AI is going to matter for us, it has to sit close to the business, like close to product design and close to user outcomes.
So I assume that this is also something you'll build like gradually. You're not going to wake up one day and saying every user now has a fully like autonomous agent managing everything, right?
No, no, no. That would actually be irresponsible. So we will build it in layers. Start with clear strategy types, clear risk profiles, clear controls. Then expand the sophistication over time. So this has to feel useful before it feels ambitious.
Got it. So let's move to something more about the strategies. The second major like directions, because I think this one is also significant on your side. So you have completed the registrations of a foundation in the US, and you have also moved forward on the regulatory side. So why was that important for this stage of the company?
Yeah, we did a lot of work, right? So answering your question, so I believe because ecosystems don't scale well without structure. If you want to work with larger partners, if you want to support developers, if you want to form a real investment and acquisition strategy, you need an instrumental layer that can carry that work. So the US Foundation gives us that layer. So it also signals something important about how we think. So we are not building for a temporary scale, cycle, and scale as well. We are building for continuity. That means, governance, legal structure, and the ability to support ecosystem growth in a more formal way.
You move from away. I see. I
Yeah.
see. So the first area where that become like visible is Asia, right? Especially in gaming.
Yes, you're right. Asia is our first major ecosystem expansion focus, particularly around crypto gaming. There are two reasons for that. First, the builder density is there. Everybody knows that. Second, the quality of game related experimentation in Asia is still very strong, especially at the studio level. So we have already had discussions, quite a lot, by the way, with Asia-based people connected to some well-known crypto gaming companies. These are not symbolic conversations. They are actually about whether there is a real room for collaboration and how the ecosystem can expand through credible content and development relationships. And at the same time, the foundation has started engaging directly with smaller crypto game studios in Asia. So that's also important because some of the most promising development teams are not the biggest names. They're small, focused, and I believe more technically strong as well.
Okay. So and the range of possible collaborations, it's fairly broad. Like, right? It's not just come build something for us.
Yes, correct. We are looking at multiple forms of partnership. So, in some cases, it may make sense to support teams through grants. In other cases, investment may be the right path. And in some situations, acquisition or co-development may be, I think, more appropriate. So the goal is not to force one model, I believe. We are flexible. The goal is to bring high quality developers and strong products into the AetheriumX ecosystem in a way that, it just makes sense for both sides.
I got it. So you are saying AetheriumX is like really an ecosystem like formation strategy, not just like having the BD side.
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, we are trying to create a real content and product layer, and especially in gaming, that can feed long-term user growth. So I believe it's very different from short-term campaign growth.
Short term complaint go.
Yeah.
So yeah, the third area I wanted to ask about is India. So you have started opening that market, and from what I understand, you're also hired someone very experienced to lead it. What can you tell us at this stage?
Yes, I love India actually. It's a very potential region and it's booming right now. So, what I can say for now is that India is an important strategic market for us, and we have already started laying the groundwork there. The reason is very straightforward. India has scale, a strong technical talent, and an increasingly relevant user base for the kind of digital financial and on chain systems we are building. So we didn't want to approach that market, like just casually. So, yes, we brought in a very experienced person as head of India. And we think that will matter a lot for how we enter and grow there. And I'll keep the details limited for now because we want to give that announcement the proper attention it deserves. And there will be a dedicated MEA around it later. And I think it's better to let that conversation tell the full story then.
I understand. So fair enough. I
Yeah,
try. Yeah.
we will share details later, yeah, but it's going to be very exciting.
So, but even without naming the person yet, what does the India move tell us about the border strategy?
Well, it tells you that we are serious about regional depth. We don't want to operate through vague global claims. We want real market leadership in the regions that actually matters. So that means people on the ground, local understanding, and long-term commitment. So India fits that framework.
So, if I put all of this together, it sounds like the year ahead is less about making Ethereum X louder and more about making it smarter, like broader, and even like more structured. And you've got the base like over, you said like 15 millions in TVL and more
Yes,
than 200 registered user, right?
20,000. Yes.
20,000, yes, sorry.
Yes.
And you have completed the financings, and now the plan is to make DeFi more intelligent through the AI driven asset management and also build the institutional structure through the US foundations and also the regulatory process. You want to like deepen the game expansion in Asia through partnerships and potential investment and open India with a dedicated local lead. Wow, that's feel like a very deliberate year towards for AetheriumX.
Yes, I couldn't sum up better myself. So thank you for the sum up. That's exactly how I would describe it. And deliberate is actually the right word. So, um, no, the ecosystem already has enough momentum to justify the next stage. So, now the question is whether we can turn that momentum into something more durable. If we execute well this year, won't just add more products. It will change the shape of the whole ecosystem, and I think we are basically heading to that.
Thanks. I think that's a good place to leave it. And thank you, Paula, for the time and for being like direct with us.
Yes, thank you guys. I really enjoyed this MEA, and sorry for that short nose in the background lately. But I think that was a very great conversation, and thank you so much. And the noise is starting again.
Yeah, it's great that it stopped when we're talking and not
Yeah.
yeah, it started again. So thank you for being here. Thanks for everyone that joined us. And I think there are more updates from Ethereum X clearly on the way, and we're all have to wait for the India AMA to hear the next piece of that story. And I want to see you next time. Have a nice day, Paula.
Me too. Have a nice day as well. Bye bye.
Yes, goodbye, Paula.